So for the past few episodes, I'm walking around in the basement. I've been using this guy right here, a Zoom H1N, to record my audio through an external microphone. But it's been a little bit difficult for cable management purposes because I have to shove this thing in my pocket. Well, today we're going to use 3D printing to come up with a practical solution for that. Welcome everybody, I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield, and we're going to another behind the scenes YouTube thing here right now as I work on improving some of my camera gear, in this case audio gear, we're going to do some practical 3D printing and create a combination belt clip and cable management system for my Zoom H1N Recorder. Here's the plan I'm going to execute. If I flip the Zoom recorder over, it's got a tripod mount on the back. I can use that to attach a belt clip as well as attaching this kind of custom microphone wire cable management. So ideally, you can kind of see it sitting like that. I'm just going to trace out its outline back here because that's kind of important. And then I'll show you the design. This line, this represents the tripod mount. And what I'm thinking then, we're going to have a belt clip down here. So let's imagine something kind of coming up like this to right around here. This is the bottom of the recorder. And then this won't be very big. And that's the problem with this is in terms of, I don't know, let's say we'll try 6 millimeters. So then this will be the back side of the belt clip right here. And what's going to happen then, there will be a spot up here that's going to be, a 1/4 inch. I love how I'm using metrics and imperials in the same design. Why not? Because this is going to have where the bolt is going to go through to attach the whole device to the back of the Zoom H1N Recorder. This is going to essentially be a reel where I can wrap the microphone wire around a few times, hold it in place before I run it up out to where it goes basically underneath my t-shirt for mounting purposes, which will make my life a lot easier. The last thing I will need as well then is, for 3D printing purposes, this is going to be obviously 3D printed. It's going to be printed in 2 halves. I'm going to kind of draw a dividing line here. And if you only have one point of securing 2 halves together, you've got a possible rotation situation. So I think I'm also going to have another spot going through right up here to where I can add another bolt. And we can tighten down there. And then therefore I have this and this holding the whole thing together, and that will keep the 2 parts from rotating. Awesome. Let's jump over to Blender and begin the 3D modeling process. So the first step is I'm going to create what's going to become the microphone wrap, and that's going to be a cylinder 30 millimeters in diameter. Next, I'm going to create a bit of a flange that will help keep the microphone wire on the roll and eventually become the belt clip as well. Now I'm going to take the bottom part of the flange and we're going to turn it into the belt clip by doing some vertex manipulation. The Zoom recorder is about 35 millimeters in width, so we're going to make the belt clip about that size. I'm going to go for about 50 millimeters in length for the length of the belt clip. And for that, I can use the Measure It plugin, which is built into Blender. You just got to turn it on, and it lets you measure accurately the distance between 2 vertices. The last step here is to cut the holes that will not only be used to bolt this thing together, but to also attach it to the 1/4 20 tripod mount on the back. When cutting holes for bolts, always make them a little bit larger diameter than you think they should be. It's just because 3D printing, they never come out exactly the right size. When doing the Boolean operations in Blender, it's always a good idea to do all the operations in one step if you can. It reduces the chances of things going terribly awry. So I'm going to join these 2 hole cutouts together and perform a single Boolean operation on my piece. Then I join everything together and it looks like I've got a completed half to my belt clip. I'm going to print out 2 of these. I can then attach them together and we'll get them on the Zoom recorder and see how it works. 3D printing is done. I've got the 2 halves of the belt clip right here along with some 1/4 20 bolts. No number 6 bolt. Well, I'll get that from the basement in a moment. And I also have some 2 millimeter cosplay foam here. I'll explain what that is for in a bit. But with that, it's time to assemble the belt clip and get it on the back of the Zoom recorder. With the 3D printed parts, well, I kind of forgot to put support material in there, so it's a little messed up, but it'll still work fine. I did dig up a few number 6 bolts. This piece is actually the motor cage for Microflash Beta, the old version of my 3-pound combat robot. Well, shoot. Thought those bolts were longer. For someone who's got a combat robot that's held together with number 6 bolts, it was a heck of a time trying to find the right size, but I finally did. This is another, actually I think this is a spare part from Mega Flash Beta. I believe this was my oh crap, my entire structure's been destroyed, I need something to hold the robot together piece. So this was not actually something that ended up on the robot, but there we go. That should be a 1/2 inch long number 6 bolt, which is what I really want for this particular project. When it comes to the 1/4 20, I don't know which size bolt I wanted, so I got a couple different hex bolts here. I think that a 1/2 inch will work, but like I said, I wasn't, oh, no, wait, hold on. There we go. And the last thing comes in is the cosplay foam I mentioned about a little bit ago. I tried a prototype of this guy on my waist, because that's what it is. And the PLA, well, it kind of scratches you pretty good. So what I'm going to do is just kind of coat this piece with some EVA foam, and that should solve that problem. When working the X-Acto blade around a microphone wire, be sure not to cut said microphone wire. With the super glue dry and my fingers separated, we're good to call this build project done, I think. You know, it wouldn't be me playing around with super glue without getting my fingers stuck together at some point when I was holding this thing on. But regardless, let's try this thing out quickly. How it works, of course, you got the belt clip attached right there. And then this little spool, as designed, I can take the microphone wire and wrap it around there to reduce its length if necessary. And then I've got one extra little bonus thing I'm going to add to this build that's not related to 3D printing or the Zoom specifically. When you got a lav mic like this, you kind of want it, it's about 6 inches from your mouth-ish, so you don't want it right up in your collar. You really want it more like where I have it right now, maybe a little bit up. But the problem you run into is with t-shirts, it's kind of tricky to do, right? Because the wire comes out the neck, and then it loops down and goes to the microphone. These things are really designed for like dress shirts where you can kind of run them up through where you get that thing buttoned up. So what'll happen is over time the wire will get pulled down, so I'm going to pull the wire down, and the only anchor point that the microphone has, of course, is the one clip holding on to it, which tends to cause the microphone to tilt a little bit and become off axis, and naturally that's going to negatively impact your audio performance, as well as to pull the shirt down and causes other problems like that. So what I can do is add a second anchor point directly below the microphone, and that will be the point that takes any kind of load from the wire being too tight, and it won't rotate the microphone. For that, I'm going to see how this works. This is a transparent sewing clip. You might have seen me use these from time to time, say like building the Minutemen ammo belt hanging back here. And I can clip this thing on my shirt in a way that I'm not pinching the microphone wire. Key phrase, not pinching microphone wire. And if I have it aligned with the actual microphone itself, that's going to be the new point that takes the load for any kind of stress in the wire, and it won't rotate the microphone. Now, I can see on here even the transparent one kind of stands out a bit, so I probably should paint this thing black to make it match my shirt, or you know, whatever shirt color you happen to be using. Black's just kind of cool because video gear is always black. I don't know, there's a story behind it. I'm sure it may just be because it's difficult to see, but professional video gear is always black. Audio thing, black. Blackmagic, black. Now, some photography lenses are white. And you know, Canon, if you see a Canon white photography lens, that's a very expensive lens. There was actually a problem with people targeting Canon cameras, I don't know if they still do it, years ago, they'd steal the lenses because they knew the certain color were good quality lenses. Canon's cheaper lenses are often black. Their good ones are kind of a white gray color. People would run up to them, hit the little lens release button and run off. Free product design tip for you. If you make your nice high-end products flashy, easy to see, people know what to steal. Oh, also, microphone over here, black. This is what's done. Anyway, so I'll probably have to paint this guy just to match everything else, and then it won't stand out as much. But in the end, I think I've got a pretty good setup here now for walking around with my Zoom recorder. It's definitely a lot more comfortable, and I won't have the problem where the volume gets turned up in my pocket and has myself have to redo stuff in post or whatnot, because I hate doing that. Anyway, I've rambled on now for like 2 extra minutes than I really should have, if not longer. So, thank you guys all for watching. I also scratched my ear too, which is another no-no in video production. So thank you guys all for watching. Once again, I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield. And this has been a nice, fun, practical use of 3D printing for something other than making miniatures and cosplay stuff, because you can do cool stuff with 3D printing that's not just flashy cosmetic things. Alright, have a great week, everybody.